supporter was just making this violent threat. Mitch McConnell shared it, and Twitter said they wouldn't reinstate his account until he took that video down.
Now, was it worth actually taking down, or was it just Twitter? Like,
I mean,
doing some shit that's gonna fucking piss some people off and make some people happy. That's what I get.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know because like, I haven't seen the video, stuff like that, and I mean, I know that there's been a lot more political violence, so I would hope that they're trying to actively like help society, but at the same time, it could easily be a partisan thing, and that's what
I don't like either.
that's what sucks about today's politics. You just never. Well, it's not that you never know. You really have to dig in to figure out if it's partisan or if it's legit.
Well, and there's an argument like, should these corporate elites have the right to like control freedom of speech?
Right,
I kind of agree, because if someone's stupid and not worth listening to, and it's just bad for society, like maybe they should be heard. So people are like, "That sucks. You suck."
Yeah, I mean,
when you block something out, it's like it gives it an option of like, oh, it's forbidden. So then some people are like, maybe it's true.
Right, it creates
like
it
helps them. Yeah.
Like an underground black market.
All right, boys, let's get this fucker going here a little bit.
Okay.
All right, guys, here we are. Welcome to another episode. We have a very special guest today, our old friend Jordan True, actually the first ever guest on the Here We Are podcast. I'm glad to have you here, man.
Nice to be here. Here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
We're here.
Here we are. Before we jump into everything, if you want to support the podcast, subscribe to the Patreon at patreon.com/double_D. There you can access all my written works, including poetry, flash fiction, and full-length short stories. If you haven't already, hit subscribe, like, share it to your friends, drop a comment, let us know what you think. To further support the podcast, check out Bingley's Teas at JaneAustinTeas.com. They have high-end hand-picked teas by the wonderful Julia to satisfy that deep tea addiction. Or visit her in person at 118 East 26th Street, Suite number 28, to be taken on a tea tour of the world. All right, boys, here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Oh, shit, I'm actually... Dude, it's weird, like, I talked about this in the last episode. I always feel fine. And then I do the pitch, and then I'm like...
then you're all nervous.
Me and Jordan were just talking, like, and now I'm feeling a little, like...
Yeah, sorry, but we gotta do the pitch. Oh, also, that little song at the beginning, if you heard it, that was the Enigmanauts. You can check out their music. Just type in the Enigmanauts/bandcamp.com. All right, so Jordan, it's been a number of years, man. It's been a long time, actually. I think the last time I seen you was probably even before high school graduation, because I was pretty much a flunky, bro.
Yeah.
So like,
maybe sophomore year. Like,
no, yeah, it's
things got right?
Dude. Okay, so you're gonna have to forgive me because like, I was so high all the time in high school, dude. I like don't remember shit. I think allegedly. Yeah. Dude, I was not all there all the time. In fact, the only like looking, especially now that my memories fade and I've had so much life like in between. Mm-hmm. It's weird. Like I'm sure if we are talking and bring up old things, it'll come to me. But literally, the only memory I have that's like a clear image is like a snippet of me like walking down the hall, stoned as fuck, and like, and then there was like you like at the end of the hallway like laughing. And that's like the only clear image I have left. That's how fucked up my high school years were, dude. So, dude, it's wild, dude. Just like having you here, and you've changed so much. Like it's always weird to me when you don't see somebody from like that time period for a long time, and then. Like, obviously with girls, especially if they were, like, nerdy or something, and then they're, like, super hot, and you're like, the fuck?
Yeah.
When you did, like, join the Navy and...
But you're like a man. You're like a man now, dude.
Yeah. I try.
It's fucking weird.
I can put the face on. But, no, I mean, I went to a wedding over the weekend, and I saw a few people that I knew.
Oh, yeah, that's why you're in town, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I came originally, and then Slipknot tickets this weekend at the State Fair.
Oh, shit.
So
really? At the State Fair, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I heard they were...
Iowa tribute,
Dude, no,
yeah.
I heard they were
cool,
doing
man.
that. That's going to be
I
badass.
didn't even know about that, actually.
Yeah. I only know. And, like, dude, I didn't even like Slipknot until, like, a few years ago. I hated him when I lived here.
I like
Dude.
Corey Taylor. He's the...
He
Yeah.
does Stone Sour too, right?
Yeah, he
Yep.
does. I like his music, but I agree. I'm not a Slipknot like fan, but I like Corey Taylor, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
I think he like is really good, but
Definitely certain songs.
Gotcha.
But dude, it's so you like metal and shit, right? Or
I mean,
is it just kind
I'm
of
not
like
I'm not like
you fell into
super into metal in general. There's just like a few bands.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like when I got in my accident a few years, like I was just
What-
Slipknot was like just my like.
What was the accident?
yeah, that's well.
Oh yeah, I just got a motorcycle accident. I was just on my way to work one day, and I don't know what happened because I don't remember. I remember like maybe from like 8 or 9 o'clock the night before. Then I just don't remember anything else. But
You don't even remember like
No, how-
falling and
No, you have to wear helmets in California, and in most of the country it's a law. In Iowa, it's like
I know. My dad drives a motorcycle.
yeah,
no
Hey,
helmet.
you need to wear a helmet.
Yeah.
I mean, all he does is cruise around town, drive Clear Lake, maybe, but still.
yeah. It doesn't
Like
take
you just said, you don't.
it doesn't take much to your head.
It happened.
Yeah, like
Yeah, your dad probably doesn't wear any fucking leathers either, nothing.
No.
Not even a leather jacket to look cool, so he's just like,
He's just riding a motorcycle.
yeah. I mean, like I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I had a leather jacket, and I didn't even wear it that morning because I was like it'll wake me up more or something. I don't
Yeah.
know. But
I mean, there's nothing that. I mean, I get it. You have a motorcycle. You're just like, I'm getting on my motorcycle. You don't want to
Yeah.
wear all this gear.
you just want to feel
Yeah.
cool. There would be nothing
normally
cooler
you're
than wearing like tight jeans and like a 1970s like fucking bare chested thing while your
Yeah,
hair's
exactly.
blowing. You know what I mean? So yeah, dude.
just wear my cut off tube top.
Yeah, like crop top with your titties hanging out and
Exactly.
shit.
So, like, what have been the long term things from the accident that you're still experiencing?
Yeah.
How long ago was it again?
It was almost 3 years ago. Like next week,
Okay.
it'll be 3 years. But I mean, it's mainly just like short term memory. So I have to take a lot of notes before. I used to be able to remember everything.
Yeah.
Damn.
And like I still have like relatively a good memory, but just compared to before, my short term memory is worse. And like there's this thing called working memory, so that's like remembering phone numbers and like license plates and like things like that, like real quick. Or if
Yeah.
someone tells you a number at
So
a
I've
store,
like, never had that, so I guess I'm just like,
yeah.
probably shouldn't hit my head.
Well, yeah. So you
It
can
makes
get
it better.
It's I mean it's usually pretty expensive from what I've heard, but like you can get like a neuropsych test, and then they can test a lot of these functions of your brain. It's just usually
Give you like a
there's
number.
no reason until it like
Yeah, but
you get hurt usually.
Yeah. Damn.
But yeah, it's super interesting, and I guess they've got some super good science down, and they're really good at estimating
Yeah.
what you would have been at before by taking like just like a lot of demographic characteristics, and then like they can look at certain things that you did before, like like to kind of measure it, and there's a few different methods, but it's a really neat experience. Well, it's not.
Yeah.
Don't get a brain injury.
Yeah.
but,
No, try to avoid that.
but it was like neat to actually go through it. And I'm just very fortunate. Like they told me, I'm like one of the very few people like in the 1%
fast were you
or
going? Do you know when it happened?
yeah, I was probably
He
going like
just told you
70,
he didn't remember
75.
shit.
75?
Yeah,
Damn, that's like that. You could be dead, bro.
yeah, and like I don't remember like, but I'm pretty sure I kind of like just skidded into a wall, but had a helmet and all that. So
Damn,
Have you-
yeah,
Yeah. Have you had like any emotional problems because of it?
yeah. Actually, I
'Cause
have.
I've heard a lot of that sort of thing where.
Yeah, because especially like so, I hit the frontal lobe of my brain, and the frontal lobe is what controls a lot of our emotions, and
Yeah.
especially like one thing that was like it's weird that emotions play such a big role into the consumer economy, but like
Oh shit, we're going to turn on this. Okay.
I'm sorry,
All right. Yeah. Go now. Go in.
no, but like I was stuck in my house, like I had a wheelchair, I gotta have a little wheelchair ramp, and like I don't live in a neighborhood where I can just wheel my chair around,
Yeah.
like.
Damn.
So I was kind of just pretty much stuck in my house unless like unless somebody was gonna like take my wheelchair out and like put it
Walk
in my car
you.
and all that. Like yeah, they would have to do
Literally.
everything.
Yeah.
So I would spend a lot of time on my phone, right? So I spent a lot of money on like Madden Mobile and I didn't have the attention span to play like I tried to play Fallout once and I just didn't have the attention span. I didn't have the attention span to watch like an entire episode of something on Netflix, like 30 minutes. My attention span was maybe like 10 or 15 minutes max.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So and then shopping on Amazon. I mean, I know that there's plenty of people that have that issue.
Shop-a-holic.
But you did
Yeah.
have this issue
dude.
beforehand, correct?
Right. I mean, yeah, I have maybe like once a month, like I'll buy like 4 or 5 things that maybe I don't need, but
Yeah.
they just looked
It's
neat,
right there, bro.
and I was dumb and bought it.
Yeah.
But I think that's like somewhat normal in our economy. But I was doing this like pretty regular, and I had so much time, so I was just looking at all the neat things on Amazon. It only takes you a couple minutes to look at something, and then your attention goes somewhere. Yeah, and then if I change my mind, I just search something else to buy.
Yeah.
I'd be looking at like diapers 1 second and like orange juice. The next
Wait, why the
second.
fuck would you be looking at diapers?
Dude, because I had a brain injury.
That's fucked up. Damn, these are a really good deal on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I won't
funny
even
as
have
fuck.
to get up and go to the bathroom.
Yeah, you're
with
like,
these.
dude, no.
Oh,
That's
man,
fucked
that
up.
is crazy.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, one day it's like weird sex shit. The next day it's diapers. The next day after that, you're like collecting like pins or something.
Yeah.
You're, like talking to your girlfriend. Like,
Then you have the best
See,
like
like, I'm-
Pokemon collection ever.
you never even fucking looked at Pokemon before.
You're like an expert.
And then next week, I'm just like,
That's
screw these
fucking.
Pokemon cards.
That's wild. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Because I have a friend who's living in Colorado who she painted houses, and she fell off a ladder and really hurt her head. And I guess that's probably right around the same time that your accident happened. Getting better, and I'm sure, like in your case, you're seeing gradual
Yeah.
improvement. But yeah, I don't know much about it. I haven't talked to her about it a whole lot, but she had like a lot of emotional problems from it.
Yeah.
And do you remember Dusty? He just does construction.
Yeah.
And the guy was in like a bulldozer and bang,
Oh, I remember that.
and rocked his head like a bell. And he has, I don't know how he's doing now. I should reach out to him. We've had some, not arguments on the internet, but he always like
We've had some
drops.
Engagements.
Me and him have had some.
Yeah.
He's a good dude though, for
is.
real. We just don't see eye to eye. But
Yeah.
anyway, he said randomly he'd just like collapse because his was probably really bad. And then he was already kind of a little volatile, like has a temper. And he said just randomly, you know, and you hear this from a lot of fighters and sports people, like he would just fly into a rage like about absolutely nothing. Like, you know, and it's just crazy how something like that, you know, like, dude, because this is the computer that runs everything, you know what I mean? And you fucking, it's like if I took a hammer to my computer over here 7 or 8 times, and then like, all right, let's shoot the podcast now.
Well, and I felt
You know?
like my grandpa's deck stairs, like, really bad when I was little. I probably fucking did something.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Or, I mean,
I go to the emergency room.
I have a friend that like they just slipped on some ice
Yeah.
and hit their head, and it was a
That happened
concussion.
to me multiple times too.
Yeah, but they
I
were.
hit my head probably like.
Well, Johnny, you're already
like-
fucked up, so.
No, but it happens, and dude, going down the slide on the pool one day, as I was coming out, I like set up like an idiot, smacked it really hard. I remember feeling weird the rest of the day. That little type of thing, who knows what it just did.
Well, you know, my dad's had like a lot of trouble with drugs and things, and he was like a lot more like me, like super normal and like highly intelligent, read all the time, and then he had like a pretty bad brain injury, and like years into that, it changed him, and he started getting into drugs and stuff because a lot of times impulse control goes out the window.
That's pretty crazy.
Just like being able to read like an actual book or like an academic article.
Yeah, seems like you're doing a lot of the.
Yeah, I have to read a lot of stuff like that, but it's a lot harder for me because they are more technical, and I have to slow myself down to make sure I understand, and I have to take notes while I'm reading if I'm going to realistically remember this stuff. And just those aren't things I had to do before, but like it's great. Like I go through the VA, and like whether it's like psychology, occupational therapy for my brain, which I didn't even know that was a thing when I was in the Navy. And then when I go to the VA,
therapy?
that was one of the first referrals, and I'm man, this is great. Like,
so has the VA been like positive on your end? Because I know there's a lot of problems somewhere sometimes. So
it's been great for me, but also like Long Beach, the one I go to out in California, is known for being like one of the best.
They get their funding and everything, so they're actually able to do a job.
Yeah, and I mean they're doing a lot of work on like right now. Like parking sucks. Like like I have a handicap sticker, or like I have like handicap license plates in California, and like even then, it's like I can walk to a door. And my doctors always tell me, like, in 20 or 30 years, if you keep always walking to the door because you can, then you won't be able to. But even then, like, the whole point is, like, with all those handicap spots, I still can't find parking. I have to get like, either my appointments are either at 8 in the morning or 1 in the afternoon.
Yeah. So imagine if you're somebody that's actually severely crippled.
Oh, no, exactly. Like, I mean, and for me, like, I mean, I do physical therapy and occupational therapy lately, like, every week. And... You know, so I go there twice a week, and you know, I'm fortunate enough to be able to go to school and afford to pay my bills without having to go to work. But I really do need that if I want to be able to finish school and stuff like that. So it's just been really eye opening to see like what it's like for people and to try and figure it out for myself, because I used to be a huge procrastinator, and I can't do that anymore, because now if I try to do it last minute, my brain doesn't operate fast enough to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So I actually have to plan ahead.
Yeah, because if you don't do it, that's wild, dude.
Yeah.
So before we get into anything else, refresh me. Mm-hmm. Did you move away at one point in high school?
No. So
were you there for the whole time?
Yeah.
I feel like I don't remember.
So I graduated a semester early, because originally I was trying to join the Navy early, and then that didn't work out. But I got approved to join early. And like looking back at it, it probably would have been actually better for me to stay in school and finish like some of those things. But like when you're a senior, you're just like, screw school.
Dude,
I'm so done.
You've been in it for 12 years. You're like, bro.
Yeah.
It's the freedom, like.
Yeah, so...
Oh, dude, I know a little bit about that freedom. I got right out of high school and I knocked a chick up, dude.
Yeah.
Immediately, like...
Yeah. I mean, I was just working full-time and, like...
Damn, I should have done that.
And, like, spending money, like, on stupid, random stuff.
Hell yeah.
Because, like, my parents were nice and covering my bills, like...
Yeah.
So you come from a good home with, like, money and shit? That's nice.
I mean, like, it's like, they're like, well, you were in high school and then you graduated.
Yeah,
so we know that you're going to the Navy soon, so as long as you have a job, you can stay. That was the deal.
That's nice.
So you have to have a job, though.
Dude, it was fucked up. I don't want to get into me too much, but, like, got out of high school, a year later, I got a chick knocked up. And then, like, my grandma, she raised me, because my dad was kind of a fuck up, you know? and then I got a girl pregnant. And my grandma, who lived with me and my dad at the time, was like, I'm done. I ain't raising another one of these fucking... Remember, dying? And then she just was like, she moved away. She's like, figure it out yourself. It was fucked up.
Wow.
I mean, it's something to laugh at now, because it's like life is...
Yeah, I mean, and it's like progressed, and it's like not in that difficult situation.
But in the time, I was like, damn.
I've been his friend this long, like, was always hanging out.
Yeah, it's like, you remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck, grandma?
I mean, it's great when we can laugh it off, because like we've gotten out of that situation.
Yeah, it's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, like I always say, you know, like with dark sense of humor, and just if you can find humor in anything, you know, if you can find something funny, power of it's gone.
I'm the same way. Like, like that's really how I do it. And like, there's a lot of things that I hate, and I make jokes about, because like that's how I cope with it.
It's like, better than crying in fetal position. Yeah.
There's been a 9/11 meme where I'm like, for a second, I'm like, God damn it, that's fucked up. But that type of shit is weirdly how you like, almost like get over.
Yeah, you cope with it.
Yeah. And there are people, especially the people that have been like a lot more affected personally. A lot of times. You know, that may like be upsetting to them. Yeah. And I think a lot of people are just worried about things upsetting people like that. And
which is it's not a good-hearted thing.
Yeah.
Turn it into control thing.
Sometimes it goes too far, because some people do, like, even the people that have been personally affected, like I make a joke about my brain injury. I was like, I was on the fast track. I was getting promoted quick. I was out in California. I was seeing the world, and then I just hit a wall.
Yeah. That's good, man. Yeah, it's true. And you know, the thing about like that dark comedy and dark humor is it's really kind of like literary or philosophical in a way, when you can crack a joke about the darkest things, because points out the absurdity of life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the fact that we're, in instance, a Holocaust joke or something, right?
Yeah.
We're these moral human beings and whatever, and we have emotions. But then on the flip side, we can do all this fucked up shit.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of makes you
Yep.
laugh, like, huh, yeah, when we think we're something. You know what I mean? So
it's really like dark humor is really just like when you cleverly like make an association and people like appreciate it. It's like this weird thing when you really break it down. Like,
yeah,
you're just like
you're shining truth.
Dark joke, and it's like, man, that's not funny.
Because where my line is going to be different from yours and yours.
Yeah.
And it depends on the situation too. Like jokes here, on camera, off camera, that makes a difference.
Yeah.
For some people they don't care.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, if your mom's here or if your girlfriend's here, sometimes those things matter. And, you know, people can debate like whether it should or shouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into all that, but
It exists.
But yeah, context matters.
Yeah.
Context always matters. I don't think anything, whether it's politics, whether it's humor, family, nothing's black and white. Just because this happens doesn't mean this has to happen or that this is what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like context matters.
Yeah, it does.
And I think a lot of
And
times,
intention.
Yes.
If you're cracking a 9/11 joke, like, or a Holocaust joke, meaning to like shit on people,
Yeah.
bro, not cool. You know what I mean? But if you're, the thing is like, it's funny, and the funniest jokes about dark things shine light on the human condition and shine truth on a situation. That's why we go.
Yeah. We appreciate authenticity when you look at it. Like
George Carlin.
Oh, bro, yeah.
All that guy did was spout like the truth.
Dude, he wasn't even
Yeah.
doing
Like,
stand up at the end. He'd
and you
just
could
come
tell
up
he was,
and
like pissed sometimes, even like it actually felt genuine.
Yeah.
He was just but people were like, "That's hilarious. This is true."
yeah.
Or like what I love about Joe Rogan is, you know, and I'm sure there's other people. I don't watch a ton of podcasts.
Yeah,
but like,
he's the king.
but yeah,
He
like
is.
All hail the king.
he's willing to ask what people would consider the dumb questions. 'Cause
Yeah.
a lot of times we have questions for people, and we're like, no, like I don't want to ask that, blah
Sounds
blah.
stupid.
Yeah, but
Then Rogan just says
but he's
it.
like, hey, and then you get, especially if it's someone that's like an expert, if it's asking somebody about something they said, you give them the space to clear it up, and nobody has to believe them, but it's like, you know,
Well, I also
there
love
it
it
is.
when someone's blatantly like spouting an agenda. Rogan like calls him out on it and like actually takes him on.
Oh yeah,
When Rogan does that, man, it's like you just got owned on Rogan. Like,
Yeah. We don't need to give any more advertising to Joe Rogan.
oh sorry, don't watch Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
No.
So yeah, you got out of high school, graduated early, and you said there's a little bit of a period before hopping in the Navy. And then tell me about that experience a little bit. What was that?
Like in the Navy.
Yeah. How did that start? What made you want to do that?
I mean, the biggest thing was my brother had joined the Guard like right after 9/11. He had deployed a couple times. And a lot of my family, like uncles, have been in the military. So, you know, I was just really attracted to it. And I didn't know what I wanted to study. I didn't think I was ready for college. And I wasn't. I was like just this rebel that whatever you told me to do, I just want to do something different.
Yeah.
And a lot of teachers told me like, don't do it. Don't go to the military. And it ended up working out great for me.
So you're like, fuck you.
Because it made me adjust. And most people, they will. But if you join and you don't adjust,
Well, you ain't gonna make
that's
it.
not going to be too great. Yeah, sometimes having a dishonorable discharge, like, can screw you over. But they're like working on peeling that back.
Yeah.
What's that mean actually? Like, what's that look like as a person that got dishonorably discharged? Like,
You know, it's tough, especially for people that have served, like recently, because right now the VA is looking into changing and looking into a lot of cases where people who suffered like brain injuries or PTSD and other things that didn't have they never had medical treatment or diagnosis or improper diagnoses, because they can go back and look now and realize that maybe a lot of the doctors over there were just like, no, we need people in the field.
Yeah.
Like, you're not so bad.
Yeah, because you need personnel.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not saying that it was the doctors doing that intentionally, but like I'm just saying there's all kinds of different factors, and a lot of guys, like, we have a lot of pride in the military, and it's tough. Like some of the best advice I ever got is like, go to the doctor and tell him what's wrong with you. but everyone says that like before you get out, go to the doctor and tell them what's wrong with you.
Yeah.
No, like go tell them now.
Yeah, right.
So hopefully you can fix it and it won't be as bad.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's a huge military mindset and culture, and there's no easy solution to that. But a lot of guys that had PTSD or brain injuries that caused them to do bad things, like to be more, whether it's being more violent or whatever, especially if they never had treatment.
Yeah.
They're really looking at like changing that around. And like me personally, I advocate for all veterans, regardless of their discharge, should have at least mental health care.
Oh yeah, because that's one of the things with the dishonorable discharge is your benefits. Do you still get your pay?
No.
Your pension?
No. Like
none of the VA shit.
Isn't it pretty much like fuck?
There's an honorable discharge,
and there are ways like you can get like these like other than honorable discharges and stuff like that. There's all these different discharges, and there's normal things that happen, but you can always get an attorney that can like negotiate things. So that doesn't mean that that's definitely going to happen, but usually when you get dishonorably discharged, you don't get shit.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Damn, well that's fucking...
Yeah.
It's not like, is it easy to get dishonored? Like, it's gotta be kind of hard, right? That's
it's usually not easy, and that's the thing, like when someone has repeated behavior, and say they've been in 16 years, and all of a sudden they're doing all this behavior after they had been on a couple deployments.
Yeah.
I think it's, pretty obvious to see that sending people to war does not make them normal.
Yeah, that's fucking wild.
Yeah.
Like, well, and here's the thing though too, this issue of, we could talk about the pension and stuff, they serve the time and then they get their pension. That's a whole debate, the whole subject, right?
Yeah.
I tend to be like, well, maybe they don't get the whole thing, but they should maybe get some of it, even if they are. But whatever. Anyway, the whole healthcare thing, and if they get dishonorably discharged and they don't get their VA benefits, right? That could all be solved if we just had single payer, because then they'd be able to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and they'd be able to have you could have like a small wing of hospitals in every like general area.
Yeah.
Say like a small wing of Mercy is like the little veterans clinic.
Yeah.
And then in LA, you might be able to have a whole hospital in LA or something.
Special understanding in a way, right? Like
for some things, but
especially
like
for the mental aspect.
Yeah,
it's not like everyone is going to know how to handle people who have been bombs have been going off.
Yeah, I mean, and
it's a crazy mindset to.
One thing that's really frustrating for me is that like we have a lot of these services, and the VA is getting a lot better. And I don't know, like I haven't been to combat. I went to technically a combat zone, but it wasn't bad at all.
Firecrackers in the distance sort of thing.
Yeah, like I went to Pakistan for a week.
Damn.
But I was fine. Like I was living the life. It was bougie for me.
Where at in Pakistan? Where you at?
Islamabad.
Okay. Is that towards the coast?
It's like a little bit inland.
In the Punjab,
but, yeah, it's like the capital, and they call it the Sleepy City and stuff like that because a lot of like developing countries or countries that aren't real, like up to like Western standards and stuff like that, they generally have like a few cities that they can keep secure, and the rest of it, it's like, hey guys, good luck.
Well, what's their big
city?
city?
Dude, yeah, that's crazy to think.
Big city of Pakistan.
That one that Taz is from?
Yeah.
Karachi.
Karachi, yeah.
Okay.
That's a wild place, bro.
Yeah, that's a lot more wild.
Yeah. Well, dude, that is, and I don't want to get off your military service for a second, but like,
wherever.
Damn, that's crazy. Because we are used to like the American concept of the state and the state system.
Yeah.
Our government and our state system has like the whole continent and tons of territories like on lockdown. Like we're a very, very strong state.
Yes.
Right.
So yeah, that's called state capacity.
Yes. Yeah.
And like, I'm not an expert. I just learned this term like within the last 6 months.
I read it somewhere.
At grad school.
Yeah.
No, one of my professors was like talking a lot about it, and it's definitely something that
That's
I'm very
why
interested.
I learned about it is in college. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, then there, like you said, in Pakistan, there's a state capacity or the strength of the state. You get to a country like that, like yes, there is a state, but it ain't just what you. It's not really what you see on the map. If you actually put on like some night vision goggles that see like the power of government in the region, you're gonna see like maybe those coastal areas and a couple of inland smaller cities.
Yeah, exactly.
And networks of like roads and shit, and that's it. If you're in the mountains, if you're out. I mean, those countries, those are a good example, Pakistan and Afghanistan. The state, Afghanistan's pretty much a failed state at this point, but the state owns those handful of things, and then it's warlords and shit and drug lords.
Yeah, it's like as much as it's technically within the borders of Afghanistan, it's not within their means to control it. Like, and that's the thing. Like, you can't just fix Afghanistan. Like, you can't make if you make gun laws there, there's not state capacity to enforce them.
Yeah,
you really have to prioritize these foundations and stuff like that. But
everyone living in Afghanistan, do they even all view it as Afghanistan, or do they view it because it's like that in some places. Like, what we call it is not what the people there actually are trying to call
like
it.
the Kurds, for instance.
Like, there's separation in
Palestine
that country.
I mean, I would imagine there's something like similar to that, because there are a lot of tribes and stuff like that. So it's, for example, like when Al Qaeda or whatever was trying to get villagers to be on their sides and help them out and stuff like that, like they would like bring them like supplies usually, because like you give them money and like what are they gonna do with that? Like they're in the middle of the mountains, they just trade stuff. And
smoke hash.
So it's like, but they're gonna be generally on whoever's side is like helping them out. So it's like, hey, we're bringing you this food and supplies, so why don't you say that you're part of this country or that country? They could have like tried to make something up, like ISIS was trying to make a caliphate. They'd be like, hey, we're giving you like this food, you're part of the caliphate, right? And they're like, sure, like, because all they're trying to do is survive. They're not.
It's fascinating.
And they have nowhere near the context as like you and I have the potential to get about these conflicts.
They don't have.
They're just trying to get. No, it's funny. I just have this image of like, all these sides trying to win over the, Afghani like elders and stuff, and our guys just show up with like an Apple laptop. No way to run it even. They're just like, you're on that side now,
files are
right?
in the computer.
Yeah. Hey, you guys talk for a second. I'm gonna see if I can grab some more coffee quick.
Yeah.
Oh man. So like, and just to talk about how you were in Pakistan and what I said, like, I've talked to someone from Pakistan who thinks like India is like actually Pakistan, and then you talk to someone from India, they're like Pakistan is India.
Yeah, I have a classmate.
I'm gonna drink some more of this, Johnny. I'm having a rough day today.
All right.
I have a classmate from India, and he was saying like one of the hardest things for him was he went on a UN internship over the summer, and one of the hardest things for him was like working for a Pakistan, like his supervisor was Pakistani and he was Indian. Like, but it's like, and that's the thing. He's like, you guys know, like in America, when people are racist, that they're raised to hate like that. And he's like, I hate that I think like this just because of where they're from. Because it's like, if someone sees an American and they assume all Americans like Trump, just like we assume all liberals like this and all conservatives like this, people generalize that stuff about Americans and stuff like that too. Now, personally, I think Americans generalize a lot more, and I think most Europeans know like there's two sides, and we just think like, oh, all the Europeans are like this. No, there's conservative Europeans that would love for their country to be more like America.
And what's cool about America,
you kind of see a turn. Sorry, Johnny. You kind of do see a turn of that in some of these countries recently. There's been a right wing movement building up.
It's a huge like rise of the right.
But it ain't nothing like our shit. Like where it's militant and stuff, it doesn't seem like.
Dude, Brazil,
we're talking, but I'm talking Europe, Latin America's a whole other animal.
Yeah,
but like their right wing thing is like we're gonna cut back housing subsidies a little, like like it's not like we need a little extra money.
Jeremy Corbyn, who's like.
Well, the UK and America are very similar in their political system in a way, in that it's like very divisive. Because they essentially have that two-party system.
Yeah. Because, and like...
Sorry to interrupt. I kind of just like...
My point wasn't even anything that good.
Yeah, like, I mean, the British system is like pretty interesting because I don't remember exactly, but I think they have like 5 like parties.
And then they like join with each other for like major things.
Yeah, excuse me. But so like there's these different like... partnerships or whatever that they'll form.
Yeah, they do like coalitions.
Yeah, but it's like, based on how all these things go, like if this coalition does this, then this would be better for them. And then sometimes it gets into a gridlock because this person's like, wait, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Because if either one of these people change, they're going to change, and that changes the whole outcome.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And then they can
like
do another election, though.
To our system's problems. Like some people think it is, we should, but it just seems like more problems too. Like it's going to just... More entanglement and corruption.
And the parties in in like multi-party systems like that generally have a lot more power. Like in America, like people are
The
saying,
parties do?
like
Or-
yeah, because like in America, people say like, is Beto really a Democrat because he votes with Republicans 30% of the time? Well, in American politics, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if you vote for one more than the like, if Beto voted 51% for Republican, I might be like, yeah, bro, maybe you should be a Republican.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think it's really that serious and then a lot of people don't realize like it's all based on where your district is.
Yeah.
Like for example, any Democrat that represents North Central Iowa most likely can't be super liberal.
Yeah.
Because
you're gonna have
North Iowa's not super liberal. You need to represent the people.
Yeah.
Even if they, as a
You can't
person,
speak out against the Farm Bureau, man.
Dude, that is literally, Johnny and I have talked about this a lot.
Yeah.
And then I want to get back onto what you've done with the Navy and stuff. But Johnny and I have talked about this a lot. One of the problems that the Democrats are having here in Iowa is while most Iowans would like universal health care, tuition-free, like the
Yeah.
economic stuff, the gun rights, and things with like LGBTQ abortion.
yeah,
I think in a lot of ways Iowa, and I mean maybe not so as much recently, but Iowa is progressive on a lot of like economic issues, like the
We
populace
largely caucus for progressives, it seems.
and like marijuana and stuff. All
yeah,
but these three issues are a stickler. If we could get a candidate that's a little, I guess, laxed on these issues, and not that I want them to be, but if they didn't pipe those issues as much, because the Democratic Party has their agenda, so when you run, you kind of pipe the whole spread, right?
I mean,
if we had some candidates that were a little
up against some of the parties.
right.
said I support the Second Amendment, said I'm on the fence about abortion. I mean, I'm not saying
The
that
thing
that's
is,
right,
though,
but
I think beyond doing that, it's just talking properly, like actually digging into the depths of abortion and talking to the people who are surrogate.
yeah.
It doesn't happen. It's just like a.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best path, right, and I'm not saying this is the winning path. I just think, like, for politicians, it would probably be best if they, like, in North Iowa, like, in this district, if they want to run against Steve King, what I would, like, if it was me, I would probably want to, like, state what my positions are.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, I know, and even a lot of Democrats in North Iowa are very questionable, or they're not so lenient with abortion, and they want, if they're even pro-choice, they want it to be very strict standards. So that's the thing, like, just because someone feels a certain way, if you know that that's not a huge polling issue, or that's going to even take support away from you, the right thing to do is to, like, at least state your opinion, or, like, your stance that you're going to take when you represent these people.
Yeah.
And then don't focus on that on the campaign trail. Like, if someone asks you, be honest.
Yeah.
But if that's going to take away voter support, that's the strategy side. I'm not saying I like that.
Yeah, that's purely like
But
political.
then you're honest, but also playing the strategy.
When you think of a certain political strategy that you state your personal beliefs, but you promise to vote with your constituents if they disagree with you on a certain belief.
Yeah, so
is that dangerous? I've heard the dangers of that type of politics.
I think it sounds great, and look, I've considered that because I know that, like, for who I would want to represent, like, North Iowa, it's probably not what the majority of North Iowans would want, So, but if the person that I really like is like, hey, this is how I personally feel, but I'm going to vote this way for you guys, I think a lot of people are sitting here like, oh, like, you're just going to let us vote for you and then vote however you want anyway. Yeah. Or people will be like, oh, you're lying and you're just saying that for votes.
Yeah.
And I think generally with the distrust in the system, I just saw a Pew poll on it, but there's just a lot of distrust in the American government. I think it's like...
Rightfully so. I mean that's what happens when you dick around for the last 40 years and throw the middle class overboard. Yeah. You're not going to have people liking you very much. I mean,
and I think that's how we could get way off topic. Like, that's how you have to appeal to people who normally aren't voting. Like, how many people aren't voting now?
Yeah, you need
that's who you need to win over. It's not.
Oh yeah, you need to convince people that,
like, in the
non-voter.
Yeah, like in the South, I want to say it was like Mississippi and a few. They're like, if they like their estimates or whatever. I don't know the exact numbers. They're pretty close, and it's like a pretty far divide. But if everybody in that district voted that could, it would be something like maybe like 60 to 70% Democratic in like a few states.
Yeah.
And it's just because like people feel like their vote doesn't matter, and like us as individual people, to be honest, no, it doesn't. But what matters is the community. Like if you go vote and then you get a few friends to vote, that's what matters. And a lot of people don't realize, like, volunteering for a campaign, donating to a campaign.
Well, the power of numbers also they don't realize.
Yeah, like we have the power to influence politics. Or like, for example, it's interesting, like if you're not a citizen, you can't donate to political action committees, and you can't run for office. For most things, it all depends. But
yeah, right.
But you can still try to influence politics by volunteering for a campaign.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of their one thing, and it's like, you know, it's an interesting concept to think, like, you know, could you even limit non-citizens from like volunteering? Then you'd have to, like, every political volunteer, you'd have to like verify citizenship.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, should we let them if they're willing to put in the work? You know, and this isn't any huge debate or anything like that. Yeah, no,
but
it's just something I thought of.
I've never even considered that, because obviously we talk about like not paying taxes, people that are here illegally, you know.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. The
Didn't
IRS
even think about that.
The IRS made a law, like I believe it was under the Obama administration, but that the IRS would not report on someone's immigration status. What happened? More people started paying taxes because they wanted to pay into their communities, and they're like, hey, like, we're living here. They want to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And like, yes, they're here illegally, in some circumstances, but they still want to pay taxes and do what's right in that. But it's like, if you say the one thing that really makes a difference to them, like, is that they're here. If you took away that it wasn't okay for them to be here, everything else would be fine.
Yeah, and I think, like, you know, it's kind of
no, for real though.
Like, it needs to be called out. It's kind of a myth what is being perpetuated, that illegal immigrants are a problem. It's
so
it's a fake thing that elitist politicians are using to rile people up.
Yeah,
there are definitely issues.
Yeah.
Because we have illegal immigration. Like my stance would be that the issue isn't that we have all of these illegal immigrants. The issue is that we have a system that creates such a large black market for illegal immigration.
Yeah, right.
And then in turn, not to change the topic too much, but that's become a huge funding replacement for reduced marijuana profits from the cartels as states legalize. Well, so what are they doing now? They're like, oh, it's harder to get across, so we can make more money taking people across.
Yeah.
And illegal immigrants didn't pass the laws to ship your factory jobs that once made your town great.
See, this is
that's where it's like the blame game. It's the blame game when,
because we know, like, most of the jobs that immigrants are taking. Yeah, most of the jobs that immigrants are taking are jobs that most Americans don't want, right?
Yeah, generally people are really proud and they don't want to do a lot of these low status jobs.
Yeah, but if you're fleeing a country where there's turmoil or no opportunity, you're like, get me the fuck in. Or I don't care what I'm doing, you know?
Even like, so I'm taking U.S. immigration right now.
Yeah.
So, but there's people that will come over and they might work at McDonald's for a summer.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm in L.A. and like they want to be able to show that they've came to the big city, that they've been in L.A. It's like a status thing.
Yeah.
They just want to go make some money and like go on like a summer abroad and work kind of thing. Like, that's what a lot of people, they just want an experience. And yes, some people want to stay, but if it wasn't so hard to cross the border back and forth, a lot more people would actually go back.
Yeah, seriously. Because then if they try to go back, then they might get stuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, then they're going to get popped for being here. And
right, because if they come and take these jobs that we're having trouble filling, you know, then, and that's the thing. Like, I mean, a lot of them are agricultural jobs.
Yeah.
And
service industry, like.
Yeah, and back
hospitality.
Like, it was before President Obama, but when they were looking at immigration reform, somebody proposed, I forgot who it was, but somebody proposed a law to say that there's like a citizen minimum wage and a non-citizen minimum wage. You know, so that's the thing. Like, if you just hire non-citizens, then you have to regulate that. And so sometimes regulation, when there's administration costs and personnel costs, sometimes it just costs you more money than it's worth.
Yeah, right.
Which, I mean, an example of that is like Yang's universal basic income.
Yeah,
the reason he wants to give it to everybody is because if you just make this an automatic thing, you have a very small, like, relative staff.
Yeah.
Because everybody gets it.
Yeah, because then you can. It's not picking and choosing and processing and shit. It's just
Right, and it's like
turning out those checks.
Yeah, it's like if you go to jail or you do something wrong or something like that.
Yeah.
He said, like, you pretty much get, for following the law and being a productive citizen, you get this money.
Yeah, I like what he said. Where he had this joke where he's like, our government can't do a lot of things.
Yeah.
But what it is really good at is sending large numbers of checks to large numbers of people.
Yeah.
So it's like,
that's true.
That's one thing. But yeah, I actually wanted to get into Yang a little bit related to the immigration thing. Because he kind of talks about this, and I'm so glad that he's running and bringing attention to the idea of UBI and automation.
Yeah.
The reason why Trump got elected, and the reason why we're seeing this right-wing upswing and so many Americans upset, blaming immigrants, blaming minorities, is because all the jobs have either been shipped overseas or automated in the last 30 years, right? And the right wings, people, the Republican Party, have politicized that and made it against the immigrants because these companies are benefiting from it. And they don't want to draw attention to the fact that automation's happening, profits are through the roof for these big companies, so they scapegoat immigrants and people of color. But meanwhile, if you sit down and explain to these people why they lost their job or why their towns are in decline, they'll tell you, if you tell them, it's Amazon, it's robotics, it's AI,
right?
And it's not immigrants, dude. It just isn't. There's no immigrant coming. There's no Mexican immigrant, let's say, coming in and stealing your job as a plumber or a welder, generally, even.
And what's interesting is, like, so the H-1B visas. Like, we have a huge demand for, like, medical professions like nurses, physician assistants, doctors, and then even, like, things in the technology field. Okay? Yeah. We are not getting enough people to be educated in that in America.
Yeah.
So what do we need to do? We need, like, I'm not trying to dehumanize this, but, like, but yeah, like, those H-1B visas, it's like, it's like, hey, like, you have this skill, and so they can come work here for a few years. Like with the H-1B visas, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be able to stay here for life and get citizenship. But the purpose is kind of to fill in-demand jobs, and high-skilled jobs.
And is that?
But when you look at it, like, if someone is coming from a different country that has no student loans, of course it's going to be easier for people, because then the people who have the talent but not the funds or the resources, it's a lot easier for those people to go. Like, you're giving everyone the opportunity to become as educated as they want, and people say, like, well, you don't need college education, and that's right, you don't need to be successful, to be a hard worker, to be happy. You don't need
to start your own business, whatever it is.
But as a country, we need some level of people that are educated. Yeah. So right now we need a large supplement. We need a large supplement of people from outside of our country, and it's lucky. Like, we have a great country. It's like, hey, you'll make a lot of money here. They're not going to be poor, and a lot of times they'll work for a lot cheaper. Yeah. Because they're like, cool, I get to go to America. Like,
there's stability.
There's all kinds of benefits. And Trump has, like, reduced and cracked down a little bit on H-1B visas and stuff like that. And I share a lot of negative things about Trump because
there's a lot to be shared.
Yeah, and I do. Sorry, guys. Because of that, and because I try to limit my bias. Like, I am biased, I know it, and I'm going to share the stuff that I want people to read or I want to discuss.
Yeah, yeah. There's legitimate problems. So many people focus on these stupid things, and it's like, dude, let's talk about the policies that he's doing that are hurting us.
Yeah, like, I don't care if he misspelled something on Twitter.
Yeah.
If he tells somebody to go back to their country on Twitter, now I care.
Yeah, now I care. Like, I don't. It's crazy to me that people can just turn a blind eye to that, or supporters.
At this point, you see Trump tweeted something like crazy. You're like,
well,
yeah, it's not good though to get desensitized to this. You know,
well, I mean, that's like we see that. So, like, the thing with Twitter and Mitch McConnell, like, people are seeing what's working for Trump.
Yeah,
and they're doing it.
Yeah.
Right. And, like, there's been a handful of Republicans, maybe not even a handful, but like Steve King got stripped of committee assignments because he went too far. Yeah. But if he would have waited a year or two to say that, like, if he said that right now,
Oh, he'd be fine.
I don't. Yeah, I'm not convinced that that would be too far because
Is Steve King done? I wonder. He's getting primaried. But I don't know. I mean, there's a loyal people who love Steve King.
Dude, it's weird.
It's the Trump
Johnny,
effect.
you saw it on the ground a little bit.
I mean, and that's the thing. You know,
it's like Trump. They literally, it's like he's a mini Trump, dude. He was Trump before Trump, if you really think about it. He was saying
if he was president, I'd be like actually way more scared than like if Trump, because when you look at Steve King, he looks like somebody that would be like.
I mean, I see him just
dark.
As a guy.
I don't know. Like just something about his face. I'm just being
the life, but he's never done anything.
Yeah,
he's never done anything positive for working people of Iowa. Can you say one thing? I've tried to look it up.
I'm sure that there's a few things, but I don't. Well,
it kind of amazed me.
I don't know.
Like,
I don't know either. But I've never
named a post office.
He's never. I know. We know this though. He's never. He hasn't like introduced any bills. He hasn't co-signed any bills. I'm pretty sure. Like he's not.
He never did anything.
He's just in there
committee stuff
on Pornhub, fucking during the meetings. Like
it's like easy to actually criticize Steve King without the racist shit.
Yeah.
Like that's why I.
Oh yeah, no. I mean that's the thing. Like
he just sucks. He's like a guy who's just in there and he has power and he gets money from it. But it's like he's not actually. He's just kind of a placeholder to not get anything done.
Well, I mean,
corporate farm entities.
I mean, and that's the thing. So he knows that he doesn't have the same personality and like elite following as Trump, because Trump like was well known. Like a lot of people around the world, like when you would ask them about like who represents the American dream, they would say like Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Like people all over the world knew Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And then he had that reality TV show. All right, so he's a lot more following, and he can get away with a lot more. Where Steve King tries, he's finally come to do a Cerro Gordo County town hall at something like 2 or 3 p.m. in Rockwell on Wednesday.
When everybody's working.
Exactly.
In a town that no one's going to want to drive to.
Anytime you actually try to bring something up, he shoves you down, dude. He like makes it like he's a victim of something, and it's what he does.
Dude, they got tactics. We went to a Grassley town hall, and he plays the part of a decrepit old man.
Dude, literally.
He's like, hang on.
And he'll spend like
let me get my notebook and
saying all this stuff.
Write down what you're saying.
And then he moves on right away. And then you're like, you really think about it, and you're like, he did not answer your question. But he's like a wizard.
Yeah.
He's like,
it's
for like
crazy.
A minute, he's like fumbling his words. And
well, dude, just the fact that
it's intentional.
He plays that decrepit old man gig.
I mean,
and it's like,
I'm sure
if you're a decrepit old man that has to like sit here, and then you shouldn't be our senator, bro.
I mean,
time to retire. Let's get some young blood.
I interned, for like almost a year through this Wounded Warrior program for the congressman down in Long Beach, and he was an older guy, but he was super active. He was super fit. Like he played tennis and like handball or I don't know, like regularly.
Probably in better shape than me.
Grassley is actually this character he's
I know. Like he's putting on a thing to.
It's like
deflect because dude, we showed up. We like protested it. We showed up.
Wow.
Yeah, so we showed up with like 100 people.
There's me like trying to like be all optimistic about the situation.
No. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
How dare you try to question the senator?
Oh wow.
Yeah, no. We showed up like a protest kind of. Not even a protest.
Asking questions.
But a lot of us, we coordinated for a lot of us to show up and ask questions that matter.
Well, a lot of people want to show up just to shake his hand and like be his fan.
Like you had like some questions with some pressure and substance behind him.
But he does this.
Want to answer him.
No, he did this thing. If you were there, you would have been like, "Hey, what the? This is not cool, bro."
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see politicians on both sides can do stuff like that.
Oh yeah. It ain't just Grassley.
And like that's why, and I think that's why a lot of politicians have that rap, and as unfortunate it is, like
Fred Hubble,
like there's people that will like try and answer a question and like try to like make it work, and then fans in the audience will be like, I don't care, blah blah, like, and they might actually be trying to have a discussion.
Yeah.
So like that does make it hard if you really want to like answer the question, but that should be the point of town halls, but it's kind of not.
it's mostly like I'm doing all these town halls.
It's
town
like,
halls
hey,
or PR.
hey,
I'm for the people.
Yeah, I'm still here. Tell me what you guys want and stuff like that. But
I'm
When
listening.
they actually hear it, they're like, "Oh fuck!"
I got a lot of guys giving me a lot of money that say I can't do that.
That's the thing. It's not good when these politicians have to be like, "What's my big donor this gonna think if I say this, so I can't say that?"
yeah.
It should just be like, you're serving us. State your opinion, even if it goes against like.
There's a lot of institutional foundations in our political system that should be bipartisan, but when it's just like you look at the money in politics on either side, and like there's always, and it sucks, but in most policies there is some type of financial interest.
Yeah.
There's some type somewhere, and it's like if it's big enough for people to
Almost
invest,
every time.
Yeah, so if it's in there, like you got to be careful. And that's sometimes the financial interests are actually doing what might be better for everybody. I just doubt that that's the case most of the time.
Well, that comes to the root of all the problems we have politically. We would make so much progress and clear up so many political problems if you just could get the dark money out.
Yeah, well,
You know?
I mean, I think money in general, or money should be limited. A lot, which is super strange.
Well,
I have a political action committee,
yeah,
but
they're just right. Well, but you're playing into a game that has to be played.
yeah,
Right now.
Like there's other PACs like
It's like
that want to end PACs, and they're a PAC.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah,
but it's what you got to do right now. But yeah, like PACs should be illegal. Corporation or money is not free speech.
like an electoral system should not be any type of market, especially not a free market.
No, right.
Like, no, that's not what it is. And like, well, if we're going to consider an electoral system a market, the services they're providing are votes and ideas that we want and like, and hearing us out and doing what benefits us and the country in the long term. And and sometimes there are short-term things that suck that we just kind of have to deal with. But
yeah. I want to come back to I kind of just abandoned like asking you about your life because we're just having good discussions.
It could go 5 hours deep if we really want.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh, coming back to like education, and obviously can't remember all exactly what we said, but we kind of talked about like we have these jobs that need to be filled, like STEM jobs.
Yep.
But the other and that's a good reason to have tuition-free college. But a lot of what I hear against tuition-free college is I don't think that's worth the investment. I don't think, because we have so many kids graduating with college and all this debt, and then they can't even get a job in what they're trying to do. They say we need more trade stuff. We need to fund that. I agree with that.
Yeah, we do. We do.
We need to do both. But here's and this is a thought I've had, is like, to the people that are like naysayers for universal education and stuff, I say, even if in a world where we don't need any more jobs from college graduates, like college level jobs, say we got every single job filled, dude, the more people we can send to school to do like an associate's in arts and learn about the world, learn about politics, learn about culture, learn about history, the better. In a democracy, the more educated you have a populace, the better. In an ideal world, I'd like to see everybody do, K through 12, community college, 2 at a university, and if they don't want to do something with or can't find anything with that university degree, like being a lawyer or a doctor or whatever, then do the trade school too. Because here's the other benefit for working class people of having people in school till they're 25, 26, 28, 29, 30. The benefit is if they're in there long enough and we're paying for the school and we're making it so they don't have to work a job, right? We give them money to live while they're in school. That's more people out of the workforce for longer, which sounds bad, but it's actually good because... Especially
if we have very highly skilled trades or fields that people are being...
If the more people we can have in school through adulthood, that makes labor more expensive, right? Which might not be good for a company, but for working class people, it's better.
I mean, and
it's also a case for lowering the retirement age.
I mean, and
because then get the old out, and you get, you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
Yeah.
it's good economics. And, like I said, you get the benefit of having a truly educated populace, which is essential to democracy.
Does the top of the top get to afford that new yacht with this?
That's a good point.
Yeah,
That's largely like what's going on.
I mean, that's the thing there.
Or a house in the Hamptons. I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't do any of this.
I mean, yeah. So when you look at it, right, we're talking about how like low wage jobs, a lot of times, people like how many times, like when we were in high school, people were like, oh, like I'm too good to work at McDonald's. Like, bro, you're in high school. Like, what do you mean you're too good to work at McDonald's?
That
dude?
was
Like,
me. I was that person.
Yeah.
I was too good to have a job in general. I didn't get a job. Like, I didn't get a legit job until, like, after my daughter was born. Because, and you can, I'm a socialist, that means I'm lazy, you know? But no, the thing is from an early age,
Yeah.
I saw my dad work his fucking ass off. I saw my grandma work their fucking ass off. We were never ahead. We were always in debt. We were always fucked.
And you just weren't in a rush to start that.
And I was like, no, I'm going to wait as long as humanly possible to get a job. I don't care what I got to fucking do. I'll find out a way to make money otherwise. And then the thing is like, I just have, like you said, somebody tells me to do something, I'm going to do the exact opposite, you know?
Yeah. I mean, when we have things like that, I mean, that's like when Andrew Yang talks about the universal basic income and helping like artists and creators and innovators.
Yeah.
Like, between the universal basic income and if we could get universal health care, like, it would be a lot easier for people to start their own businesses, to like focus on a podcast, on your writing,
being a painter, sculptor,
running for office. Like, people don't realize like it. A lot, like
raising your family. Even if all you do is raise your kid like super fucking intensely. Guess what? That when those kids come up, if we have a whole generation of people like focus 100% on raising their children, say you're not an artist, say you're not whatever, dude, we're gonna have a better fucking society and a better fucking planet.
The big flaw right now, though, is there's a lot of people who only care about themselves.
Yeah,
and don't see the benefit in bettering other people.
Those people need to take mushrooms and smoke marijuana because they're fucking ridiculous.
We have a fair amount of people who just straight up believe that tax is theft.
Yeah.
And I don't...
It's a big thing.
Like, I don't...
I mean, but because how it is right now... Sorry to interrupt you, but how it is right now, it is fucking theft. They steal the money and then they spend it killing people overseas and handing away to corporations. So I get the fucking mindset.
Yeah, it's like you're upset because, you don't see the benefits really coming to you.
Yeah.
And it's because
that's why
most of the benefits are not. Like,
it is. It's not.
People are like, there's people that are like, man, I'm mad because my tax return is $2,000 less. Yeah. And people are happy because they're like, oh, my paycheck is $50 more.
Yeah, you're getting fucked, bro.
It's like those are like very small amounts compared to the people that are really.
Well, dude, that was one of the things that happened with the Trump tax cuts. People are like, I got a little more on my people are like, my paycheck's actually a little higher. Yeah. The company gave me a bonus.
Yep.
And then the end of the year, so many people flooded on Facebook that I know in my community, and I've seen shit about it all over the media. Like the smaller scale media, not the big for-profit media.
Right.
Being like, Americans didn't get fucking... And I know some did, but Americans didn't get tax returns this year. And all those bonuses and shit that companies handed out, that was because... For like PR, like, because then when we come back and bitch about, hey, I didn't get my taxes, you pretty much stole my. Those companies stole Americans' tax returns. I mean, and that's how they one of the ways they paid for the tax cuts.
And that's one thing we don't realize is like I believe the tax cuts were for like 10 years. So if these are going to be the tax levels for the next 10 years, or even if it's 5 years, whatever, but
it's not going to be good.
But yeah, like the things really that are
laughing awkwardly.
The things that are getting like there will be things that get defunded over these 5 years, and we may not see the long term effects till 10 or 15 years down the road. But I'm saying like in 5 years, if your school is falling apart, well, not your specific school, but if we see a huge trend of a lot of schools, if it's happening all over the place, not just to one place, like. A lot of people like to say, like, well, my school failed. My factory sent jobs to Mexico.
Yeah.
Or, well, this factory moved back to Iowa. Like, in one city, if one factory moves back, like, a ton of people in that city will be like, oh, it's not true. Yeah. Factories are moving back. Well, it's like, there's a difference between a case and the statistics and trends.
Anecdotal evidence isn't very good evidence a lot of the times.
Right,
it's useful, but it's not.
Right, especially in
It's
the
a
beginning,
heuristic.
if you're trying to figure out something and like investigate, like you look at investigative journalism, they a lot of times look at anecdotal evidence, like this one particular case. But that's the thing, like if there's just one particular case that's messed up, how many other are there out there? And that doesn't mean that for example,
Flint, Michigan isn't just the only thing going on with water.
right, yeah.
I mean, actually, in a lot of other places.
Yeah, all over the place. It's just that was the first place that got a lot of attention for it.
It still is, and it's still not fixed.
Yeah.
Which is like... I think
And that's the thing. Like, it's a huge problem, and it's not something that can be... Like, those things are very difficult to fix super quick. Because imagine, like, rushing a plan to redo all these things.
That could be a problem.
And like, yeah, if there's a detail that's wrong and stuff like that, like, we should be taking the time to at least do it right. And at the same time, the time is critical. But what we need to realize is that if we don't, like, we need to stop taking simply the cheapest option. Whether it's the car we buy, or the furniture we buy, or the house we buy.
Or when the city council lets construction companies bid on roads.
Yeah.
It's like, when the roads go to shit 2 years later instead of 5.
Yeah, like it's worth it. Like if a company is like, hey, like we will come redo patchwork for 2 years, at some cheap price or no price at all. Like that might be worth it, but yeah, you're gonna have to pay more up front. So I mean, there's a lot of things that we really need to consider the true value of things. And I think we're getting there. I really do. I think we're getting there. I just think we've seen a lot of
the food sector for sure. Like,
yeah,
a lot of people aren't going to Walmart anymore. They want the more organic.
Yep.
But it's more expensive. But people are also willing to sacrifice more money in some aspects for the better quality.
Right. Exactly. So, I mean, there's all these different methods and things like that you can do to like.
It just feels like we have so many big problems to focus on, and we need a government that like it's intellectuals like focusing on this, but instead we get like corporate lobbyists and bankers and like a major position where it should be like an intellectual professor.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell, dude?
And all these issues, one of the reasons why shit doesn't get fully fixed is because all these issues are interrelated.
Yeah.
And we get people in power and they're only doing like one thing or whatever. But the minimum wage and economy and tax revenue and automation and healthcare and education, like, dude, everything, it's a civilization. Just like our jobs and what we contribute to society are all interconnected.
Right. Especially
all the
economy.
aspects all the aspects of the economy and issues that we're facing, dude, they're all interconnected. You know that the butterfly effect? Mm-hmm. I think I talked about this in another podcast. How is it said? The flapping of a butterfly's wings in America can mean a tsunami in Japan. There's some truth to the butterfly effect of every single little thing that we do or say or whatever
it could
or consume
have a huge impact.
It does, because here's the thing. Think about the butterfly effect this way. Yeah. One butterfly flapping through the air, you can't even feel it. Right? But if you get 300 million butterflies, 300 million people buying phones, consuming, voting, doing things, 300 million butterflies migrating to Mexico like how they do, you can hear that coming. You see what I'm saying? So there is some truth to the butterfly effect, but people don't realize it because they just think of themselves as the individual, not as the collective.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, collective action problems are like that's one of the biggest issues in like, especially in like party systems. So like, if you want to make like huge change within a party, how do you realistically do it?
Grassroots mobilization.
Yeah, like, I mean,
talking to your neighbors.
Yeah, like there's generational shifts. Like, our generation generally has ideas that are a little bit different than the older generation. So as we get into politics, like the platforms are going to change, just like they have forever. Yeah. Like the Democrats of 1850 are a lot different than Democrats today.
Yes.
Like, same with Republicans or like whatever parties there were. Like they evolved at some point. They change positions or they have more specific positions. It all changes. it's all dynamic, and part of that is like as we see what problems are what, and as like when we grow up, and we tend to like have these things in numbers. Like if 70% of millennials support universal basic income, that doesn't mean just because you know a millennial that they definitely support it.
Yeah.
It's just likely that they will.
Yeah, right.
So you have
and then
like,
that's just one demographic out of how many within the country.
right.
You
And
know?
like, and then so if you say most millennials support this, like somebody in like rural Iowa could be like, what me or none of my friends do, and they might not literally know any or only a few people that support it. But that's that area.
When I've been caught like saying like, oh, these old like boomers don't do this and this, yet a lot of like my older friends who are boomers like support what we support. Like, it's a weird. It's you can get.
They're out there. Yeah, like
you blanket label.
Right. Like we can't profile people on these things.
No.
Like
because
just because
you must believe that
you can't not have the conversation about the issues because you think it's worthless. You have to still try because you might get that winner or convince somebody.
Yeah.
And that's the thing people need to understand too is, dude, the president isn't going to fix everything. And that's what I like about Bernie so much. It's not me, us.
Yes.
Dude, he says outright, he's like, I can't do any of this alone. If I get into office and nobody helps me, nothing's going to get done. It takes everybody running for office, everybody showing up, everybody protesting, everybody sitting down at their jobs.
Yeah.
It's called a revolution for a reason, because it's not just electing Bernie. Bernie's the keystone.
Yeah.
In the archway to the future. You see what I'm saying?
And he literally said he's not going to be just the commander-in-chief. He's going to be the organizer-in-chief.
Hey, Johnny, when you're talking, though, get just a little bit closer to that.
Yeah, I'm probably failing.
Your voice. When you're, and not to interrupt this, but if, when you talk, occasionally look at the wavelengths here. See how mine are really big?
Bloop, bloop.
Yeah, like, and sorry to kind of fuck up the show, guys, but it gets really small. So that's just something to keep
Sizes
an eye on.
and everything.
It is in this case,
Yes,
sir.
I-
And it's okay about your,
Yeah.
I'm sure your girlfriend still loves you and all that.
Shout
But anyway,
out.
so, dude, guys, we've already done an hour.
Oh,
We've already done an hour 15. But
Has it only been an hour?
Jeez.
it's an hour 15. But I'm down to do a little more if you guys want to.
Hey, I'm up for whatever. I'm flexible.
You feeling good, Johnny?
All up to you.
But
Do another.
I have to
Yeah.
go in here at some point.
What? Oh, it's already 3:30. Well, we'll try to wrap it up here in, like, say, 15, 20 minutes. Because I want to make sure you get... Is there anything you want to specifically talk about?
Yeah.
You know, that's like... I mean, we were talking about whatever, but I just didn't know if there's anything... I know you have a nonprofit you're starting. Like, maybe tell us about that. Tell us why you're in the things that you're into, and, you know.
Yeah, okay. So, I recently started the Purple Dragon PAC.
Damn, that's badass, bro.
Yeah, we're going to be having a logo officially soon. I'm working on, like, the legal stuff there. Shout out to Sprout Media for helping me out there. So they were great. But they made me a website, a logo. I'm looking for, like, kind of big name board members right now.
Yeah.
Because you got to start somewhere, and you never know unless you ask.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about...
Oh, damn, you're just going out and trying to get people... You're like...
I mean...
Hey, you want to...
Do I think General Mattis is going to be on the board of my PAC? No.
Yes.
Am I going to ask him? Hell yes.
Yeah. No, damn, that I got a lot of respect for that. That's badass.
Yeah.
So what's the...
Yeah, okay, so the Purple Dragon PAC is for... I'm going to advocate for federal policies and just generally try to raise awareness about the issues that are really impacting veterans, because a lot of politicians say that they're pro-veteran, pro-military, and that's an easy tagline, like hashtag veterans.
Just like, I support the troops.
Like, yeah, it's like, do you support the troops? Like, are you really questioning, like, why we're going to war? Is that the best thing? Are we really being taken care of? And, like, that's the thing. Do I feel like I'm being taken care of? Yes, because my needs are being met. Not everyone's are. Mm-hmm. I was fortunate. Like, they knew I had a brain injury. Like, if I would have known that I had a brain injury, could have been way worse for me.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that legitimately went through very similar things as me, probably even worse, in combat. I didn't even go to combat, and I had great care, right? But some of these people had crazy things happen, a lot of trauma that they weren't able to get treated, and they're not getting benefits. But I rarely hear anybody in DC talking about that. There are a few that are on, and it's people that are on the committees. And if you're interested in a specific thing, that's what you got to do. You got to find who's on those committees, and you got to follow them.
And if you want to influence them to do better in their position as a committee member, you have to. So those are the people you call.
Yeah, you can write the committee, and you can write to those people, but sometimes they will not. Like if you send it in from a different address. Yeah. They'll send it. They'll just forward it to whoever your person is.
Yeah.
So there's not a great system for communicating with committee-specific legislation right now.
You have to be a little bit educated on that.
Yeah, but it's always worth writing a letter or calling the office because they still have the opinion. But I mean, there's so many things that people can do to influence politics. Like you can write, like you can do a blog. Like I'm getting ready to start a blog. I'm hoping to start a podcast.
Yeah. Damn, dude, that makes me so excited, dude. Anytime anybody's doing something like with their fucking life, it makes me so happy.
Yeah.
But go on.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, we have these opportunities to influence people that a lot of us don't realize and take advantage of.
Yeah.
You can have a public discussion, just like us. Even if these cameras weren't here, it makes a difference.
It does.
Now, like,
it gets people motivated.
The bigger your audience, and the more like thought out and educated your argument is or your point is, generally, it's going to get more attention.
Yeah.
You know, and it is something that people need to do consistently. Like, I know not everyone I have on Facebook agrees with what I post, but I know a lot of people that...
I've seen.
I know a lot of people that like that just like to, I guess, read what I say and stuff like that. A lot of people that I'm like, oh, dang, I didn't even know you saw my posts.
Yeah.
Right.
And
that's something I've had people reach out, and I know you have too, Johnny, and just been like, hey, thanks for everything you post. I don't always agree, but anyway, I want to bring this back quick.
Oh,
so,
yes, sir. Yeah.
The name of the PAC that it's in its early stages. You still have a lot of work ahead of you, but you're passionate. So the name of it is, again...
Purple Dragon PAC.
Purple Dragon PAC, PAC.
Yeah. So,
working on a website?
We have the website, so it's www.purpledragonpac.nationbuilder.com.
Okay.
Hopefully in the future, right, like once I raise a little bit of money, we can get it down into just like purpledragonpac.com or .org or something like that. But that's what it is right now.
Okay. And so what it's just it's a wide ranging thing, a PAC meant to bring attention and focus to veterans issues. Yep. You know, health care for veterans, PTSD for veterans.
Yeah, exactly. Like
foreign policy, it's the whole shebang, yeah?
Right, like, you know, we're going to be choosing like a top 3 policies to really focus on, right? Because, especially because veterans isn't a huge forefront issue right now. Like, but it's reducing veteran suicide.
Yeah.
Ending veteran homelessness.
Yeah.
And just generally focusing on improving like how long it takes to get through the VA system, the processing times. Like it shouldn't take months. Like,
no, it should not.
Yeah, like we
need more resources and better organization.
Yeah, we can streamline a lot of this stuff, and we need to do it for a lot of the people. Like I was in a really fortunate situation because I was active duty and I didn't get discharged until they had everything set up for me. But a lot of people didn't have that. You know, and we can do a lot better. So just speeding up claim times, and I mean that alone would help so many people.
So if people, and I know a lot of people that watch our show are super invested in veterans. They see the suicides, they see veterans on the street. There are plenty of PACs and things out there, I'm sure, for veterans. But here's the thing, you know, help Jordan get on his feet doing this. He's passionate about it. He's an intelligent man. And he's doing it for the right reasons. You know, I like to think I'm doing my podcast and writing for good reasons. I think I am for the most part. But I got a little bit of ego behind it. But it seems to me... like Jordan, you got a pure heart and you really want to do this and you care about people. You've seen these issues, and I think I don't even fucking see any ego, and I don't even see it in your eyes, and that's awesome. So
I appreciate
Purple,
that, Purple Dragon PAC.
I keep wanting to say Purple Patch PAC for some reason, but PurpleDragonPAC.com if you want to support.
.com.
Nation Builder.
www.purpledragonpac.nation.
I'll put it in the fucking in the box below. Okay, so check out his PAC. I imagine they can donate money, or they can.
Yeah, you can go on there and you can donate. So like we're a hybrid PAC, right? So we need to finalize that, like with the bank and stuff. Like we're in the early stages, right? But so down the road, it's going to be we'll have an account for endorsing candidates.
Yeah.
The goal is to endorse 10 candidates for U.S. Congress, U.S. Senate.
That's awesome.
For 2020, and we're hoping to engage in the primaries to direct the conversation towards veterans in the early stages. So even if the candidate we choose doesn't get up there, hopefully that can make it become a bigger issue in the campaign.
Just like with Yang and UBI, never would have been a focus if, and the chances of him winning are very slim.
Right.
But he's still getting out there and having the conversation, and that's
right. And
that's
we want these in like districts all over the country. And because I'm from here and I have an interest in here, I'm gonna be looking to endorse people in the primaries in the 4th district. That'll probably be the only district in Iowa that I mess with because I don't want to focus on any one state.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to...
But yeah, I really want to try and direct the candidates towards issues with veterans, and I think that people care about that a lot, and I think there's a lot of veterans in need, especially like rural veterans.
There is.
Like being an urban veteran for me in like Long Beach, California, I'm not mad at it at all. Like I drive 20 minutes to the VA hospital, I go park, and they have every service I could probably
They just need to figure out
imagine.
that fucking parking. That's all.
They're working on it.
Yeah. But that's a very minute issue compared to some of the...
What's the worst state right now for the VA? Do you know? Just randomly ask that. Like,
I have no idea, to be honest.
but like,
and
it's way different in some states, right? Like,
or even some places in California. Like you go to the downtown LA one, and I've personally been there. I've just heard terrible things about it.
Yeah.
So it's all that. But yeah, and then the other thing we're going to be doing is what super PACs do with their unlimited money, and then that's kind of like that goes into dark money, and stuff like that. But what they do, they can only advertise for like on specific legislation or specific issues in general, like saying like, hey, we want to end veteran homelessness, but we can't say, hey, we want to end veteran homelessness. By the way, Bernie also wants to do that.
Yeah.
And we're not going to be getting into the presidential election. We're just starting out. We want to focus on getting this message spread across the country, and I think that's what we need to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other thing that I want to kind of direct, you're doing this. What else do you have going on? What's your, in a few sentences or a couple of paragraphs, what's your game plan for the future? What are your aspirations? Do you want to run for office? Do you want to do this or that? What?
So I'm in grad school working on my PhD in comparative politics and American politics. I want to focus on like political institutions, like less partisan stuff.
Yeah.
That stuff gets all boring. But I'm working on buying a house here to give me the option to move
back in Iowa, right?
Yeah, but
awesome.
It's probably going to be like, I have a friend that'll manage it for me. Most likely, this is like not for sure yet, but I want a place where I can come to visit. Like I know I can go.
Oh, okay.
I like investing in housing. But then,
well, if you ever need a place to stay in the meantime, we got a big house here, so you're welcome to crash on the couch if you have shit going on. So
no, thank you. I
save you a hotel. I'm sure you got family and shit, but whatever. I'm just saying it's an option.
Yeah, like
but go on.
When my girlfriend was here, like we stayed in the park inn.
Yeah. That's nice.
I was like,
nice
I was like, dude, I gotta check it out.
It's fucking nice, dude.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Did you sit down on the lounge at all?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it was
before I quit. Before I quit drinking. Oh boy, dude.
Yeah, dude, it's nice and fancy down there. The 1910 grill. Yeah.
But anyway, so going through school, it sounds like you got aspirations. We've talked about this before. I mean, I'd love to see you run for office, and you've talked about that maybe being something down the road for you.
I mean, yeah, I got to be honest. I'm definitely interested in it. It's something I'm on the fence about, and I'm really like looking into. It's stuff that I'll kind of be studying like in school anyway.
Yeah.
Because I've thought about focusing on like being more of a researcher, maybe like a professor, and maybe I could do a career as that and then run.
Yeah.
Or I'm interested in going to the State Department and trying to be an analyst there or something like that.
How far off are you from graduating?
So most likely it'll be about 3 years before I get my PhD, because
you got some time.
I got like 3 years of classes, and then it usually takes a year or two to write the dissertation.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, guys,
thank you, U.S. Navy, for the GI Bill.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Seriously, damn boy. Yeah. That's usually one of the best things the United States has ever done. But anyway, I think we're gonna wrap it up. Jordan, thanks again for coming, man.
No, thank you for having me, and thank you for giving me the shout out time for the PAC.
Yeah, dude. Seriously, like I'm super proud of you, man, and I hope to have you on again. I hope to have you as a regular guest. I know you're living in California, but once we become a little less handicapped, with maybe we can do Skype.
Yeah, if I get a podcast studio set up, we can do like seeing it and somebody in Washington D.C.
I would love that. So, dude, we're rooting for you here, and it's just refreshing to have somebody who has ambition and like priorities in life. Like, seriously, John and I both need more of those sort of people in our life, so it's cool to like reconnect with you and shit, man. But anyway, that's Purple Dragon PAC.
Yep.
At Nation Builder, right?
Yep.
I'll put the all right. Well, I'll put the link in there. Check it out. Support them if you can. I don't know if there's any social media you want to pitch. Do you have an Instagram where you do these things?
Right now we have a Facebook group. Look, I'm not a social media guru. I can share a lot of articles and I can give you opinions.
Yeah.
So that'll be one of the first volunteers or staff that I'm looking for.
Okay.
Well, let's be real. It's going to be a volunteer in the beginning.
Yeah.
Or intern.
So if you're good with social media and you want to help Jordan out, well, get a hold of him through the website or wherever. I'll get all this information for you guys. But anyway, check out the PAC. See what he has to say. We'll get you his social media and all that. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. Johnny, thank you. Jordan, again, thank you. Just a few messages for the end here. If you haven't already, if you liked our show, subscribe, like, comment, share. Our raffle that we planned on doing for hitting 100 subscribers got pushed back a little bit. It's been just super busy week. Johnny and I had to fit this in between a busy ass day.
Detail after tomorrow.
Yeah. We'll have a good podcast for you guys coming up. But so we're sorry about that, and we're sorry there's been such a delay between doing episodes. We're just juggling a lot right now. But all the support we appreciate. We're at 150 subscribers now. That's amazing. Thank you guys. If you want to further support the podcast, please go to the Patreon. You can subscribe at patreon.com/double_D. There you can access all my written works. I put years of work into them: poetry, flash fiction, and full-length short stories. That helps me produce more good content for you guys because it supplements my income. To further support the podcast, you can check out Bingley's Teas at janeaustenteas.com. They have high-end teas handpicked and mixed by the wonderful Julia to satisfy that deep tea addiction. Or you can visit the lovely Julia in person at 118 East 26th Street, suite number 28, to be taken on a tea tour of the world. All right, guys, they're going to send you out with a little bit of Enigma Knots here. You can check them out at enigmanauts.bandcamp.com. All right, guys.